Welcome back, everybody, to the LOL Mets podcast. Chris here, my buddy Frankie.
LOL.
And today we're talking about some of the Mets' upcoming free agents, particularly their pitchers, Sean Manaea, Luis Severino, and Jose Quintana. Do we bring them back? Do we let them all walk? Do we bring back some of them, but not all of them? We want to go one by one here. So, Frankie, I'll throw it to you because we're starting with your boy, your favorite Mets pitcher ever, Jose Quintana. He is, I think, 35, but he's coming off like a pretty good year, if we're being honest. What do you do? What do you think the Mets should do, man?
Honestly, it's tough. I'll be the first to admit, there is evidence out there of me constantly wanting him off my team, and I'm quoting myself, "Get this man off my fucking team." I think he was a bum. I thought he was pretty garbage. He wasn't that good last year for us. Yeah, he had a pretty high ERA, but this year he decided to be like top of the middle A-tier rotation man.
3.75 ERA, 170 innings pitched.
That's crazy.
4.56 FIP, but that's really just because he doesn't strike that many guys out.
Walks a lot of people too.
Yeah, 1.25 WHIP, which is not ideal. But
listen,
that was an issue with everybody on the Mets team, though.
For sure,
everybody walked people this year.
I mean, it's a walking crisis situation. Like everyone's walking, everyone's complaining that they can't get a grip on the ball, but strikeouts are up still somehow.
Yeah.
Walks and strikeouts are up, I believe. So.
And with Quintana too, it's worth noting that I think they said statistically like 50% of the pitches he throws are out of the strike zone. So if you face a disciplined team, like you're going to give up walks regardless. That's just his game plan. I know Dallas Keuchel pitched that way too. He threw most of his pitches out of the zone. But coming off a good year, you're going to have to find those innings somewhere. Like 170 innings. He took the ball every 5 days.
Was healthy.
Yeah, I think it's like when I don't know, this is like the JD Martinez thing. Like by the time we got him, he was on his last legs.
Yeah.
So does Quintana become maybe like a 1-year guy? Like if you were going to bring him back, what do you think that would look like? Like what sort of contract do you think we're looking at?
I guess the real question is like he should have a qualifying offer, right? Does he accept?
I think
if we offer it to him.
I don't know if he gets a qualifying offer. I don't know if that's the sort of thing that went away when he was traded from the White Sox to the Cubs. So I know if you get traded midseason, you don't get a QO. So I don't know if he just avoided that completely.
So that nulls him.
Qualifying offer is pretty high this year. It's $21 million.
I mean, I feel like he's gonna get at least 15 million, if not more.
Probably. Yeah, pitching's not cheap, and the Mets got away with basically some of the best, cheapest pitching contracts this past year. Severino and Manaea combined, I think, $27 million, and they were like two of our best pitchers.
Yeah. Listen, like, he proved me wrong. The only thing that I'm worried about is his age. He's going to be entering his 37th year season, I guess.
36, I believe.
So he's 36 now, though,
but
right?
He's
entering 37.
Not getting any younger. He's 35 now. He's going to be 36 next January. So when the season starts next year, he'll be 36.
I wouldn't mind if he – I feel like 2 is pushing it. I don't want to give a 2-year contract to a middle-aged pitcher, especially a lefty who's not a hard thrower. I mean, look, his breaking stuff is breaking. It's not like he's missing badly with the breaking stuff. I'll give him that. He's got good control.
Still got it, yeah.
He still got it.
He made 30. He made 31 starts this year.
It's crazy.
That like you're gonna have to find it from.
It's a dying breed. It's a dying breed. Like having someone that goes 30 games. Yeah. And it's just a middle of the rotation, end of the rotation guy. Even if he like starts sucking, you can just put him at the number 5, number 4 spot.
Right. I mean, you can't. I feel like for number 5, which I think most teams would pencil him in as.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a 3.7 ERA, making 30 starts, throwing 170 innings.
I
I
mean, I
mean, the
could.
Mets got really lucky with all three of these guys this year,
Yeah.
where like they were all healthy,
Uh huh.
and that's tough to replicate. So if you let
Yeah.
him walk, but I think it's like I don't know what a contract for him looks like. If it's like a 1 year, I don't know. I mean, he had a good year, so it's like you can't lowball him 10 million. He's not
Yeah.
making that. Someone's gonna give him
Let's
more.
phrase it this way and paint the picture. There's 30 teams, right? Correct. There's 30 teams. Someone out of those 30 is going to be dumb enough to give him 3 years,
Right.
even maybe even a fourth year as an option. And the other thing too is like as we
Yeah.
think about it and see how we had this run and how he was pretty good in the postseason himself too. Like I don't think he was that bad, and plus ERA
No,
doesn't matter in the postseason anyways
dude, we
because
started him in two like win and move on games, and he won both of them. Like he beat the Brewers, which I know we were shitting our fucking pants when he went out there,
yeah,
tied
oh yeah,
series tied 1-1, season on the line with Jose Quintana, and he proved us wrong. And then he faced Philly, and he went like 5 innings, I think.
yeah,
Which he's mostly a 5 inning guy, but
yeah,
still, like most of our starters earlier in the season were like barely getting out of the second inning. So
yeah. And David Peterson has a history of like never going past the fifth inning sometimes.
before this
Uh,
season, man, yeah, that's
so
a
so
future episode.
so I
David
feel like
Peterson.
it's up to Jose too. Do I want to stay with a competitive team
Mm,
for a
mhm.
year, 2 years, or do I go and sign with like the Oakland Athletics for a 3 year deal because they have nobody and they're
Right, right,
desperate and they're just in rebuilding phase slash literally reintroduction phase because they're going to be in a nobody
right.
stadium
Minor league ballpark. Yeah,
essentially with probably barely any fans, if
yeah.
that.
Quintana. I'm thinking about a team like the Dodgers this year, which like their whole rotation is on the injured list besides
Hmm.
Yamamoto. Um, I feel like a lot of Quintana's value is going to come from the fact that he took the ball every fifth day.
Yeah.
Like you could say what you want about like he doesn't throw hard enough or I mean, he's getting older, but like all that's true. And at any
Mhm.
point he could turn into a pumpkin. Like it could all go belly up. But coming off a year where he made every start, never got injured, that's really valuable because pitching these
Mhm.
days, even if it's good, like Tyler Glass now is having a crazy season, but then he like got hurt again. So having a guy who's out there is usually more valuable than having a guy who is hurt most of the time, even
Yeah.
if they're really good. Um, I definitely have come around. I think I was very like, he's old, move on. Like you got what
Mhm.
you could out of him. But looking ahead to the fact that like again, most of the Mets rotation is going to be a free agent the same way it was last year. It's like I don't know. He's a veteran presence. Like the Mets are going to have some young arms coming up. Like maybe it's not. If he's the fifth starter, and it means I never have to see Tyler McGill ever set foot on the mound again.
At least not in
I'd
a
be o-
starting.
I'd be okay with bringing him back. I think what makes me nervous, I feel like he's going. I think the Mets have a few guys that are gonna just kind of price themselves out of what we're comfortable with,
Yeah,
and
I
I
agree.
think
I agree.
his durability is one of those things where it's like I don't know, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, like one of these teams could
I
look
could
at
see
that and
that.
be like, we need someone to throw 30 games. Like we'll give him 2 or 3 years.
Like the Nationals could swipe him up just like because like they'll give him that third year.
The
Like, hey, we're
Braves,
rebuilding.
dude, the Braves are about to lose Max Fried, and who's always injured also. And it's
Yeah.
like you got to get those innings from somewhere. Like Quintana's a valuable piece in the sense that he's like a
Yeah.
veteran. Honestly, now that I said it, I could see the Braves totally signing him because he knows the Mets, he knows the division. He's great. He was good against the Phillies, and they have a shitload of lefties in their lineup.
Hmm.
Um,
Like I
I'd
said,
like to.
man, 30 teams. It's not beyond the realm. They saw what he did. Like, hey, fuck it.
Yeah,
I'll give you 3 years as long as you're not pitching for the competition, especially the Mets. Like, come on, everybody hates us.
right, right.
No one likes Uncle Stevie.
I think that's the thing too. It's like sometimes you have to look at it as like weakening your competition.
Hmm.
So like especially if you went to a team in the National League that like directly weakens the Mets. Like you took
Hmm.
away someone that went the whole season without getting injured and threw every game and pitched really well, despite the
Hmm.
fact that it always seemed like he was getting rocked,
Yeah.
and that just was not the case. He was great.
Yeah.
I would be okay with them bringing him back. I think though, if it starts to get kind of goofy, like 15 million a year, even like 2 years for 35 with like an option, I'm like, dude, at some point we got
Yeah.
to get younger,
Oh,
and it felt like
I
we were
agree.
trending that way, and like anything more than a 1 year deal, I don't think I'd do it.
And just to wrap this part up for this man's rotation, I just want to see we gave him a 2-year, 26 million.
Yes.
So yeah, I see like I would bump him up to 15 mil a
What about
year.
that same contract again? Do you think if the Mets
Oh, I
right
would
at
do
the
that.
gate,
I would absolutely do that.
right out of the gate, if we're like two
But
for
I'll give him
26
incentives
again,
too, because he deserves a bump for having a good season. You know, it's
two
like you
for
perform well, you got to get something in return.
28?
2 for 28 sounds good. And I'll just again, I've always liked incentives.
Yeah.
A lot of those big money contracts had incentives. Give them to the lower contracts too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if you touch 150 innings again this year, we'll give you an extra 2 million. You know,
Yeah, get to 150. That would actually be
that's a good incentive.
a pretty good year. Yeah. All right.
So yeah,
So I think we would both be okay with Quintana coming back, barring it doesn't get stupid.
stupid, and we have to reevaluate the options too. It's like if he's hurt, we have a young guy in minors, we got to bring him up, or we have to try and see if we can trade him
Right, right.
to make space
So
because we got to get younger.
an interesting case this year was Luis Severino, who had been hurt seemingly for like 3 years in a row. The Yankees gave him a 4-year, $40 million extension. He barely pitched during that time. The Mets signed him for 1 year, $13 million, and another Stearns masterclass, I guess. Everybody was like dunking on him when that deal got announced, like $13 million. This guy barely pitches. And he had a great year, 11-7, 3.91 ERA. I want to see his FIP really quickly because he wasn't striking a ton of guys out. 4.21 FIP, so 1.24 WHIP also. A lot of walks. I mean, Severino, because he's younger, he's 30.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy where I could see it getting, of these three guys, he's the one I could see the Mets being like, you're going to want 4 years, 5 years. You're coming off a pretty good year. I could see him getting like a Taiwan Walker offer of like 4 for 72, I think is what the Phillies gave him.
Let's see.
I don't know if I want to commit to 4 more years of Luis Severino because he was good this year. He wasn't amazing. He was solid. He was solid.
Damn,
And
that
he was
boy
healthy.
got 3-year, 23 million.
Mm.
3 times 23. So you're right. He got like 69, 70 million. Taiwan did.
Wow. Man, I'm looking at this is I mean the Mets, it's kind of crazy that Sango was like the only guy that got hurt. Severino, 31 starts, 182 innings.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna have to find these innings somewhere, so that the Mets are in like a weird spot where it's like, okay, let's say you don't bring these guys, you don't bring Quintana, Severino back. Like you have to get 180 innings
Out of a rookie.
out of a rookie, out of like, do we think David Peterson is for real? Like, is he for real this time, or is he gonna turn back into a pumpkin next season?
I mean, that hip was cranking, man. Maybe it was just really the hip. He never
Yeah.
got it properly assessed.
Where do you see the bidding going for someone like Severino? He's
3
young. He's
years.
younger.
He's younger, but he's the same age as Taiwan, if not a year older. I think Taiwan is.
Yeah, Taiwan's pretty young, even though
He's
he's been
still young.
around forever.
I know he came up pretty young.
Yeah.
So did Severino.
Mariners.
Yeah, Severino's 92. I mean, Taiwan's 92. Severino's 30, not 93. So he's 30, 31, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh no, I lied. He's 94, baby. So he's 2 years younger than Taiwan. Yeah, I think he's gonna get the same deal. You would have to middle of the rotation guy.
Yeah.
Walker was also hurt. They literally, now I'm thinking about it, they mirror kind of each other.
Right. Well, the thing too,
I thought Walker was the better pitcher though at one point.
At the time, yeah.
Especially for us.
Severino, this is his chance for a big contract. This is probably his only chance. Kind of like Taiwan Walker, like he was, whatever, 28, 29 when he got that deal from Philly, 4 years. Pitchers we know, like especially if you're like a velo guy, which Severino usually is. Once you start getting
cranking it up. He was cranking it up.
He got up to 100 a couple times this year. I could see this going to the four. I could see him definitely getting 4 years. I could see someone giving him 5 years.
Like I said, someone's stupid enough.
Yeah, and I think also because like with Quintana, if you give him 2 years, you're thinking like, all right, we're getting one more year, hopefully
Mhm.
like he had in 2024, and then after that, maybe he goes to the bullpen. We don't really know.
Right.
Severino though, I could see him having this same exact season for like if he's healthy, maybe 3 or 4 more years realistically, because this season wasn't amazing, but it was by health standards these days,
Mhm.
it was really fucking good. Um, if this goes like 4 years, 80 million, and you're the Mets,
No,
what do you do? You're out.
no, I'm not giving him
You're
80
saying
million.
no.
I'm
Where
not
do,
giving
what?
him.
So what's your 3 years, 60? Is that
I'll give him 3 years 60 because he's not as proven as Taiwan was at the time. He had
yeah?
back-to-back solid seasons for us. Uh, and like you said, he's just not healthy.
He's only
Severino.
shown it this season. This is the first time I think in he missed all of 2020. He missed pretty much all of 2021. He threw 6 innings. 2022 he threw 100 innings.
19
2023 he
game.
threw 89 innings. So he
So
before this
2017,
year,
2018, yeah,
yeah, 2019. So 2018,
was his last.
the last time he was this consistent. That's a tough multi-year contract,
And his walks have climbed up,
and he's older.
and he's older, but the velocity's still there, which is good.
Yes. See, he's one of these guys though. It's like, man, when he's on, he's going 8 innings.
Yeah,
Like
I
but
agree.
I will say there are a couple times this year where Severino was also one of those guys that he would look unhittable,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden
Lit up for
in like
5.
the fifth inning, he just gives up 3 home runs. And you're like, what just happened?
What are we doing here?
Yeah, and it wasn't quite like a Steven Matz meltdown where it's like once he lost it, that like get him out of the game, it's over.
Is he still playing? Does Steven Matz still play?
Still going. Still going.
Who's he on? Is he still with the Cardinals?
Yeah, he's still with the Cardinals.
Ah.
But the with Severino, like he would lose it and then find it again, and it was just a matter of like, well, hope you scored, 6 runs because he's going to give up 3 in 1 inning, and
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden the game's interesting. Like against the Phillies when he was dealing, and then with 2 outs in like the sixth, Harper hits a 2-run homer, Castellanos hits a home run on the next pitch, tie game. And
Yeah.
you go from thinking like, oh, complete game, this guy looks amazing, to like, oh, get him out.
Mm-hmm.
That's what would worry me about like he was good, but the health, I think someone would be crazy enough to give him like 4 years. I think if I'm the
Option for
Mets,
5.
I feel like the Mets have to draw the line at like 3.
That's it.
That-
Option for 4. Because yeah, I think
I don't know.
we're on the same wavelength. I say 3. I say 3 like max. Like you have to prove yourself for a 4th.
Yeah.
Or like
I could see it getting 5 years, but like maybe less annual, like 5 years for
3 years with
90.
an opt out. Probably that'll do it. Like, hey, you have a solid season
Yeah.
on your first year, you could opt out. And we'll revisit.
Honestly,
That might
maybe
do it.
maybe 2 with an opt out. I think he would want 2 with an opt out because then he'd be 32. I think like that's the same age as Sean Manaea right now, and Sean's about to get paid.
Yeah. Fuck, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's a good segue in a way.
Right.
So
Leads us to the Mets' new ace of 2024. The only fucking reason we made the playoffs because he went on a crazy run where every
yeah,
game he was
dude,
pitching 7 innings.
fucking August to September, fucking hell.
Like every game he struck out like 10, 11 batters, seven
I gotta
innings, no
pull up
runs.
and like he like put himself in the Mets record books. I gotta pull up the computer. I gotta use a computer
Yeah.
and like look up his
Sean.
MLB stats.
And that was another one of those deals, man. When it first came out, 2 years, like 28 million with like a player option for the second year.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody were looking at his stats from like the Giants and the Padres, and like I remember when he was on Oakland, everybody was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Damn, this guy might be the next big thing," and then kind of went downhill a little bit. He admitted, I think it's San Diego, that he was just getting kind of lazy,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then he went to Driveline, worked on his mechanics, worked on his sweeper, and then apparently like halfway through the season, just because he saw Chris Sale make the All-Star team, was
Hmm.
like, I'm gonna start throwing sidearm. And like just like dropped his arm angle, completely changed where his foot was coming down in his delivery,
Yeah.
and literally turned into prime Chris Sale, which is it was the most bizarre like shift from a mid rotation pitcher to like, oh my god, that's our ace. Like our ace is Sean Manaea. Um,
Yeah.
he went 12 and 6, 3.47 ERA, career ERA of 4. So he wasn't just a little better, he was fucking out of his mind. Again, another guy, 180 innings, uh, 32 starts because we just started fucking running him into the ground at the end of the year.
Yeah.
3.83 FIP, so still pretty good. That's probably a little low because he was striking so many guys out towards the end of the season.
Dude, he almost did 200 strikeouts. Holy shit.
Did he really? Holy shit.
He struck out 184.
That's insane.
Had he not gotten off to that bad start, easily.
Dude, yeah, earlier in the year, and I kind of want to check the like monthly splits, but earlier in the year it was looking rough.
Looking like a
It was
bust.
looking rough.
I mean,
Think
it
he
was a
barely
1-year deal.
getting
What,
out.
what were we gonna do?
Yeah, he was barely getting out of like the fourth inning. It felt like we had another Carlos Carrasco on our hands.
God,
Um,
2 of them with Quintana, but I was proven wrong.
he just turned it on.
All right, last 15 games, he went 7-3, 3.51, 15, 92 innings pitched, 24 walks, 97 strikeouts, a whip of .93. And in
That's
the
great.
last 7 games, 3-1, 3.43 ERA, 46 strikeouts with 44 innings pitched, 11 walks, which is crazy. That was the other problem. He was walking and he stopped. He forgot how to walk people.
He just stopped walking people.
With
So,
17, yeah.
all right, Sean, 32. So if he's gonna get a big contract, this is it. He's coming off literally the greatest year he's ever had. I think maybe outside of early on in Oakland.
Right.
What do you think? I guess two questions. What do you think he gets just on an open market because he's absolutely opting out? And what do you think the Mets would feel comfortable with? Because of the guys that Stearns talked about in the like postseason, like after the year presser, Sean Manaea was really the only one that he was very openly like, yeah, we're interested in re-signing him. Which for Stearns is like kind of weird because he's like very like holds everything very close. And he was very open about like, yeah, we pretty much want to bring him back. And Sean was also like in tears when the Mets got
Yeah.
eliminated, and he wants to come back. That doesn't mean he's taking a discount. Like,
No.
if I'm coming off a year like that, we probably should have
Trying to
made
get
the All
paid.
Star team.
A ring don't matter no more. We're just trying to get paid.
Right?
Hall of
Like,
Fame don't matter. You're trying to get the fat contract.
is he gonna
Retire
be?
early.
So he's gonna be 33
Beginning of the year.
when next year starts. What do you think?
It's
What
so
do you
tough.
think? Does it get crazy for him? Is he one of these guys where it starts to get goofy?
All right. I like doing the comparisons. Let's look in on our buddy Carlos Rondon. Hold on.
Oh, oh. I don't know if you want to look at those numbers.
Oh
He's
my
been
God.
good in the playoffs, though. He has been good in the playoffs.
Yeah. First off, Yankees got fleeced, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
6 years, man.
All right. Sean is the same age. Basically the same age. Carlos is going to be 32 by the
Okay,
end
yeah,
of
I
the
see.
season,
Yeah.
December. This dude was also kind of like very mid. If you kind of compare it, up until 2020, I think Sean was the better pitcher.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, because Rodon was also like hurt all the time.
How
Like
did he finesse $162 million?
Scott Boras, bro.
Who does Sean have?
Was running the game.
Wait, but who does
I don't
Sean
know,
have
but I
as an
feel like
agent?
if
Oh.
Sean's agent was Boras, I feel like we would have heard about that.
Yeah, sure, you're right.
Like Scott would have been puffing out his chest of like how many hundreds of millions he's gonna get Sean Manaea.
0.3. All right.
Oh shit, he is a Boras guy.
Fuck.
Yeah, it might be fucked. Or we get a Soto, Alonso, Sean Manaea triple package deal. Maybe he gives us a discount.
Yeah. All right.
All right, I'm gonna throw a number. You tell me if
Well,
you
okay.
tell me if you're willing to negotiate from this number or if you're immediately like, never
I have a
mind.
number in mind. Let's see if we're in the same wavelength.
All
And
right,
years. Give me the years and numbers for yourself.
4 years, 100 million.
Okay, we're way off on this one.
You got to remember, this is Boris guy.
I know,
So
I know.
there's a couple ways to approach it. You could wait.
Taiwan was a Boris guy, isn't
Yeah.
he?
Yeah.
This is what you get with two dudes who grew up watching baseball since they were fucking children. Now know the names of their agencies they're with, and just Jason Worth contract forever haunts
Oh,
my mind. It was rent free in my head. I hate to admit it.
yeah.
Um, all right. No, I can't. I don't think
You
it's
don't even negotiate from there. You're like, Sean, we loved having you on the team. Good luck with the Cincinnati Reds or whatever team fucking pays him way too much money.
If Sean came in hot, him and Boris came in hot without even listening to that, I might just walk away.
You don't even throw a counter.
I would throw the counter, yeah,
Okay,
but like it's not. I was thinking 3 years, 80.
That's not crazy. That's not crazy because the Mets have shown that they are willing to do high AAV short years.
Yeah.
So I think realistically, I would honestly be surprised if Manaea got a higher AAV than that because that's more than 25 million a year. That's like 27 and change.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
And again, incentive. I feel like incentivizing has always been something I appreciate. Like I always thought, like when they redid Rodriguez's contract, and I hate referencing Alex Rodriguez, but I always remember like if they gave him incentives once he like hit like if you touch like 600, we'll give you this when you hit 3,000 hit when you get 3K hits. An incentive activated. CC Sabathia had incentives if you reached a certain amount of innings.
Yeah.
He famously decided, fuck that, I'm gonna get revenge instead of getting myself a payout, and he would have gotten it, but he got thrown out the game. So I think incentives work. You could add the opt out year, which is very risky for Sean, and I don't think he'd actually accept that deal at all. If I'm him, no, I want it guaranteed.
Yeah.
I want guaranteed. I don't even care about the opt out. I want
opt out after what season though? If you give him
after one, I think that's the best option for a lot of people nowadays.
Yeah,
is like if you bet on yourself, you get the money. You have bat one season. The opt out, you don't have to accept it. It's just there if you want it.
Yeah.
You had a bad season. You're guaranteed another 2 years with good money. Fuck it. Like
you're it's funny you're describing exactly what's about to happen with Cody Bellinger.
Yeah.
Because they signed him to 3 years for like 80 or 90 last year with opt-outs, I think, after the first and second years of the deal. He is not opting out. He's playing those last 2 years and collecting $60 million. Like, so
that's what's his face did. Marcus Stroman.
Yeah.
He bet on himself, and then he wound up getting less.
Is he even on the playoff roster?
I don't think he's on the playoff roster.
I haven't seen that man pitch in a Yankee uniform in months.
I know this because I didn't see any tweets. So
right.
He's not talking about how we out here
of being racist when they left him on the playoff roster. Yeah, I will say of these three guys, and we could cut this and I could regret this a year from now when Sean Manaea has like a 6.5 ERA and he's talking about how much he hates New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Of the three guys, he is the one that I think I would make the biggest push to bring back.
Yeah, he's a fan favorite.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like Severino also likes New York, also showed he can pitch in New York. It's just the health is a little bit like makes me nervous. Even though there were never even any rumblings of like Severino needing to skip a start or like, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like, all these guys took the ball every day except Senga.
Yeah, I told you, like they did a report on him, like this dude wasn't sleeping right, and so that was also affecting his health.
It's always amazing to me when athletes have like really normal people problems and no one figures it out.
Yeah,
like, these guys have access to like the best health care and everything in the world, and they're
he's like he prioritizes sleep. He's getting his 8 hours, and like look, if that's all it was, and great. We'll give you the 3 years or 2 years, whatever, with the opt out. If you do it again, we'll give you more money. We'll definitely be on the bidding.
Severino, I could see him being an opt-out candidate because of the
Sure.
health. And honestly, with him, it's like if he's healthy and he has an even better season, he should get rewarded for that. Like he
Yeah, yeah,
should get to
yeah.
really cash
Absolutely.
in on like a great, like he makes the All-Star team. Like Manaea, I he's 30. He's gonna be 33 next year. This is his big contract chance. I feel like 4 years is as much as I'd go.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd be a little nervous touching up against that 100 million number. Um, but he's a Boris guy, so I'm kind of trying to include the Boris tax of like,
Yeah.
I don't think he's doing 4 for 80. If you want to wait, if you want to be patient and you think that no team is going to be stupid and like
Mhm.
give him 5 years for $120 million, you
Mhm.
can just wait. But like, I don't, I makes me nervous. He was so good.
He was so good. It's always higher risk
Yeah.
with any of these contracts, especially like the ones we give like the 5 tool players, the once in a lifetime players, the franchise players, giving them like 10 million or 10 years.
Yeah.
It's always a risk. Like
And if you
look,
were
look at
going,
Rendon.
yeah, oh my God. I looked at that website. It just keeps going down. There's just like all of these ways he's stealing money.
We gotta link
Uh,
that in
if
the show notes.
I will say, is we talked about like, you know, taking any of these pitchers away from the Mets would weaken them.
Mm-hmm.
Taking Sean Manaea, let's say the Dodgers, because that's a team that I think I'm worried about
For sure,
trying to
you
sign
always
him.
have to worry about the fucking Dodgers and
Yes.
the Yankees.
Yes. But like especially a National League team where it's like not only are they going to take him, but he will actively probably knock us out of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I would, if you're going to weaken the Mets, this is the guy to take away because not only is he really good, but he was also our best pitcher. So
Yeah.
like we lose our best starter, and he goes to a National League team,
I can
and
see the Phillies even going for a play for any of our pitchers,
the
just because,
Phillies do
like,
like to take the Mets players. They do.
I mean, I'm happy they took Taiwan.
Oh my God, we gotta. Whew, yeah, yeah. But
I
I
was
will
sad
say,
about that,
like,
but
I don't know. I mean, the Mets at the same time, the market for these guys is not what it used to be. Like, Boston doesn't spend money anymore. The Cubs don't really spend money like that. It really is like Dodgers, Yankees, Mets. The Astros don't spend money. The
Braves, I
Twins
guess.
don't spend money. Like, the market for a lot of these guys, at least like the old, the Boris idea of like, oh, Matt Chapman, like random player who's kind of good, you're gonna get $300 million. Like that's dead. Teams don't do that anymore. And the teams that would be willing to like overpay, it's kind of a small, the Padres already had Sean Manaea. I think AJ Preller's crazy enough to get him back, but like he's older now. Like, is it really worth it? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I could see Sean Manaea being one of those guys who's really good, but also maybe his price comes down a little bit because you want to, Corbin Burns is out there, Blake Snell's going to be out there. Like, he's going to have competition. Um, and he is
Yeah,
probably going to be one of those guys who either he signs first, like Sonny Gray did, where he just like got an offer and was like, I'm in, or he waits till the big names are off the board, thinking that that might like bump his number up, and it
yeah.
it doesn't. Um,
Oh yeah, Blake Snow had an interesting year. Gonna be the same age too as Rendon and Sean, except
dude,
he's later. He's a December baby, so he's 31, gonna be 32.
after Blake Snell's like first month, he was like the best pitcher in baseball.
Yeah.
He was just
He's
unhittable.
he really, I don't know what it is. Man's just, he turns it on. He gets a better, when the season changes, he changes. Like it's
Yeah,
just weird. Like
yeah.
once spring is officially over and it's summer, forget about it. He's just a whole different
No,
person.
he was really
It's
good.
on site.
He will be an hour should the Mets sign this guy episode. Because I'm a Blake Snell truther.
20
Uh,
games, but he also started the season. Like that's
he
not bad.
missed like 2 months, so
That's crazy. Still 104 innings, struck out 145.
yeah.
Didn't walk too many. All
No,
right.
he was lethal. He was lethal.
So yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that either, especially for the lefty market. You know,
Some
it's also
strong candidates out
a
there.
strong. There'll be some strong candidates and strong trading bait
Yes.
candidates too.
Rangers sound like they might be trying to either dump DeGrom, maybe dump Andrew Heaney. He was okay last year. He wasn't great, but he wasn't like
Yeah.
terrible. Um, yeah, and teams like the Dodgers and the Mets, although the Dodgers are going to get most of their guys back next year. Otani, Tyler Glass now. Yamamoto is going to be another year in. Jack Flaherty's going to be a free agent. He'll be in the free agent episode. But there's I think the thing is like obviously Corbin Burns is like top tier, but there's a lot of good pitchers that are gonna be available.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder if that makes the Mets sort of like we want Sean back, but if he's gonna have this Scott Boras tax, we'll just wait and we'll see if someone else caves. And if they do,
Yeah.
great. Or maybe it's a situation kind of like what I think is gonna happen with Alonso, where he takes his offer back to the Mets and says, "Do you want to match this, or should I just sign with another team?" I could see Sean getting an offer and being like, "I really want to go back to New York. Here's what I got offered from this team. Match it. Maybe go a little over, go a little under, add some signing bonus or something. I don't know, and I'll sign with
I'm
you."
all in for signing bonuses and opt-outs. I think
Yeah.
it creates competition within themselves and within the team and the organization, and it opens an opportunity for them to make more money, especially if they go out there with incentives to make more money, not just from their team that they're playing for, but potentially leaving for another team or staying with the same team because hey, I'm opting out because I want more money because I'm doing great ass work. I
Yeah.
need to be paid more.
Yeah.
So and I think that's how it should be. I think there's nothing wrong with
Oh
that.
yeah.
You
No,
know,
Sean Manaea
yeah,
specifically should really get to cash in.
for real.
And I think if you think this new motion delivery thing is for real, which I think is maybe the only thing that could hold him back a little bit, is
Hmm.
teams just being like, I don't know, man, like halfway through the year, you just decided to start throwing like a different pitcher and it made you good. But like, what if you lose it? What if teams adjust? Even though no one's adjusted to Chris Sale and he's been pitching for like 10 years. Uh, but, Sean Manaea is not Chris Sale.
Yeah,
Certainly at his best, Sean Manaea is not Chris Sale.
yeah,
And so I could see some teams, particularly like the more analytically driven ones, like the Mets and the Dodgers, being like, well, you were really good, but is this long term, or is this like you had a good 3 months and you might just have like a winter where you eat a lot and don't care as much now that you got paid?
yeah,
Which I don't think is the case. I do think Sean Manaea is for real. Um, but I could see some teams questioning like how legit was this breakout.
for sure.
But I'd love to see him back. And if I was going to make a push for any of these three guys, he's the guy. If I have to let two of them go and sign one, I'm going all out for Sean and letting Sevi and Quintana go.
Yeah. I mean, if it's somehow in the realm of getting at least two out of the three, it's got to be Sevi and Sean
Yeah,
because Quintana's
I
older.
would. I would love to have them both back.
I like to
I'm
have all
like,
three of them back.
I'm curious to see how this market breaks. It's funny, like
Yeah.
of the Mets, it's funny how like a couple years ago we're like, fuck, break this whole fucking team up, let everyone go, and now I'm like, this is one of those rare instances where honestly, if you run it back with those same three guys plus a healthy Senga and a confident David Peterson, I have no reason to feel bad about that rotation.
Right.
This is aside from like, okay, we got Corbin Burns. Never mind. Fuck Severino. Like we got
Mhm.
we got an actual ace in here now. Like Sean
Yeah.
Manaea can leave. But if you ran it back with those three guys at like reasonable prices, healthy Sanga, good Peterson,
Yeah. They have to be paid
Rote
as
is
middle end people, middle end pitchers, players,
yeah. The
not
Mets,
as aces.
they deployed a really interesting strategy of like we're just gonna have a whole rotation of number three starters, and most of the time that's gonna be good enough to win because our number three is better than your number five, is better than your
Yeah,
number
yeah.
four.
I agree.
Um, and it, despite our was seemingly we wanted to think we were ball knowers, we don't know shit about how good Jose Quintana can be when the season's on the line.
Yeah.
And I think all these guys, actually, all three of them proved this wrong because any fan that went into this season with confidence in the Mets pitching rotation is full of shit. There's just
Yeah,
no
absolutely.
way. They
Look,
proved it
after
all.
we started 0-5 and then 11 games under, they wanted us to fire and blow up the team.
Yeah, and even crazier, I remember texting you like when we were heating up a little bit, like post trade deadline, and I was like, we could have got so much for these guys, though, man. And now, after the run they went on, no regrets.
No regrets. No raggarts.
No regrets.
No raggarts.
All right. That's all I got.
That's all you got, and that's
Now for
all
this
I
one.
got. That's it for this one. We can put it in the books.
Put it in the books.
Put it in the books.